This conference will now be recorded.
You can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I will just open a drawing board. All right, I will explain what my plans are for today. I mean, we are going to set up the lab environment, and we are going to create a Linux machine. That is what the main purpose for today. Okay, okay, we are going to create a machine in the cloud, a Linux machine in the cloud. So you all will create an account in Amazon Web Services or AWS. And in AWS, you are going to create a Linux server. Linux server means, I mean, server, don't worry much about the term server. Server means nothing but like a computer. It has a CPU, it has memory, it has its own operating system. No, but it is a more powerful machine. It has more powerful hardware than your laptop, right? It's a powerful machine, and we are going to create this machine in the cloud, in the AWS cloud. And from your laptop, assume this is your laptop on the left side, you will log in to this machine which you created in the cloud. That is our plan for today. Okay, and this remote server would be running Linux operating system, and your laptop can run any operating system. Some of you may be using Windows, or it can be a MacBook, or it can be a Linux PC. It doesn't matter. Whatever operating system that you run on your laptop, you will be able to log in to the Linux machine that you created in the cloud. And throughout the training, we won't be working on your laptop. We will be always working on the remote Linux machine. So you will log into the remote Linux machine that you created in the cloud, and you will be working on that machine throughout this training. That's our plan. So our laptops are never used for any lab environment. We always use a cloud Linux machine for this purpose. So every day you will open your laptop, you will SSH, I mean SSH is what we call to log in to the remote machine. You will log into the remote Linux machine, and then you will get a Linux command line, right? You will get a Linux command line, something like this. And this Linux command line would become available on your laptop, and you can run different commands inside this machine. You know, there are different commands you can execute on a Linux machine. So whatever you execute, remember those commands are getting executed inside the remote machine, right? So this is exactly what we will do throughout the training. So in order to create this Linux machine in the AWS cloud, first of all, you need an account in AWS, and that's what we will do today first. Someone is unmute. Hi, Asmat, you want to speak something? Okay, yeah. Right. So what I'm trying to explain here is that you want to create a Linux machine today, and to that Linux machine you want to log in from your laptop. This is your laptop, and this is the remote Linux machine. And in order to create this remote Linux machine, first of all, you need an Amazon Web Services account, AWS account. So that is the first thing that we have to do today. You will register yourself for an AWS account. You go to the website aws.amazon.com, and you will create yourself a new account on that website, and they will ask you for your phone number, email ID, and lots of personal information. You would generate a username and password to log into AWS, and they will also ask you for your credit card information. They will not charge you, but it is mandatory that you provide your credit card information. And if you are from India, even debit card will also work. Debit card can also work, that is fine. And they will charge you $1 only for the card verification. It will be immediately refunded, and 2 rupees if you are from India. So that money will be immediately refunded. That is only for the card verification purpose. So that is the first thing we will do today. We will create ourselves an account in Amazon Web Services, and we will, registration process will take about 5 minutes. You need to provide lots of information, your address, phone number, email ID, etc., and you have to select their support plan, which you select the free basic plan. I mean, they will ask you for many information. When they ask for the support plan, select the basic one, which is free, and they will ask you to verify your phone number through OTP. So it will take about 5 minutes to complete the registration process. And after our registration process is complete, you can log in with your email ID and password to your AWS account. And after that, you can create this Linux machine. After you registered your AWS account, you can create this Linux machine. And after creating the Linux machine, you will log into the Linux machine from your laptop. Assume this is your laptop. This is the remote server machine. Got it? So, okay, great. So let us do that. And as I told you, once you logged in from your laptop to the remote Linux machine, don't expect a beautiful graphical interface. All you get is a command line. In Linux, if you log into Linux, you will not get any graphical interface. All you get is a command line. So anything that you want to do inside the Linux machine, you have to run a command. Let's say you want to create a file, you want to create a folder, you want to install a software, you want to uninstall a software, you want to delete a file. In Windows, everything is very easy, right? In your laptop, you will use a mouse to do all these things, right? Create a file, right click on the mouse, then select the option new document, and file is created. And then if you want to delete a file, right click and select delete, it get deleted. But when it comes to Linux, you don't get such a graphical interface. All you get is a command line. Anything that you want to do, there's a command. To create a file, there's a command. To create a folder, there is another command. So this is where, I mean, those who are new to Linux, initially you will face some trouble, making yourself comfortable with the Linux command line. But, only for first couple of days, we will be focusing first couple of days only to making yourself comfortable with the Linux command line. We will be learning a lot of basic Linux commands and stuff. All right, so let us start. Let us create our AWS account first, and then let us create the Linux machine next, and let us log in from your laptop to the remote Linux machine. So these are the three things what we need to do. And finally, you will get a command line on your laptop. So let us start creating the AWS account, and that's what I'm going to do. So all of you can do along with me. Let's do it together because lab environment has to be ready. And we are going to start with the Linux basics today or tomorrow. So a lab environment, you need a Linux machine. So let us do together. Open your browser and go to this URL, aws.amazon.com. Okay, aws.amazon.com. Go to this URL, all of you. I will send it in the chat also. And once you are there, you would see an option called sign in to the console. I believe it is not sign in. In your case, it would be sign up, create a new account or something. So that is the button you need to click on. Click for a register a new account. So in my case, it is sign in, and don't worry, I will also go to the same sign up page. So click that button, and then you would be redirected to create new AWS account. Let me click it myself, and then you would be redirected to a page where it will ask you for your email ID, your password 2 times. I mean, you want to create a password and some account name. It can be your name. And using this email ID and password, you will be able to log in to your AWS account later, right? So right now you are creating your account, you are registering yourself. So go ahead and register. In the way it would be root. Yeah, you already have an account, right? If you already have an AWS account, you can use that. Otherwise, you don't need to. I mean, you can create a new account. So I will wait for 5 minutes for you to complete the registration. And this is a simple form, provide your email ID, password, etc. Go to the next step. It will ask you for more information, your address, your phone number, email ID, and different things. They will ask you to verify your phone number through OTP, and they will ask you for your card information, the credit card or debit card. So once you provided the card information, they will charge you 2 rupees or $1, which will be immediately refunded to you. That amount is only for the card verification. And when they ask for the support plan, select basic free plan, and that's all. You can do it. Just I'll wait for 5 minutes. If you got any doubt or questions, you can ask me. I'll be here. So please go ahead and create your account.
So we have to choose personal only, right? For own projects, or should we choose business? How do you plan to use AWS? Question.
uh Give me 1 second. Yeah, Tejaswini, I'm sorry, can you come again?
Yeah, here we have one question. How do you plan to use AWS? There was like business and personal. For business, they were saying for work, school, and organization.
Select personal. Select
Yeah.
personal. That's
Hello, Basil.
yes, Soumya.
So it's showing like your account is already existing for me. And then I just click on sign in, then it's showing a root user
Yeah, you
and
can
a root user email address.
but does your account already exist? I mean, do you have the password?
No, I don't have.
Better to create a new account with a new email ID. If one reason is if your account is more than 1 year old, they
Hmm.
will it is not eligible for the free tier. So better to create a new one with a new mail ID. To
This
create that,
conference will now be recorded.
make sure that it is done by today, right? And yeah, because we are going to create a Linux machine and we are going to start with Linux. So make sure that after the class it is done. And today's video I am recording. I would be sharing the video. You can talk to your contact person, ask for today's video. He will help you with the video if you need it. All right, and once you created your account, click on sign into the console button, and that will redirect you to a login page make sure that root user is selected, and over here you enter your email ID and click on next and enter your password, and that's it, you are logged in. So now you have logged into your AWS account. Just to clarify, you created an account in Amazon Web Services, and the next part what we need to do is inside AWS we have to create the Linux server or Linux machine, and that's what I'm going to do next. I am logged into AWS account. I'm going to create a Linux machine in the cloud, and physically the machine could be located anywhere. It can be in the US, or it can be in India, it can be in Europe. It doesn't matter where you create it. The what matters is that wherever the machine is, you will be able to log into that machine from your laptop. Okay, so I'm going to create a Linux machine, and this is what you need to do. Click on services on the top left services, then select the option EC2. So once you clicked EC2, it will take you to this page. On the left side, click on instances button, and then you can see the list of machines that you currently have. In my case, I have 2 machines right now. In your case, you will not see anything. It would be empty. You have not created any machines yet. So you are going to create your first machine. So I will repeat once again. After clicking services, I selected the EC2 option, and then I clicked on instances on the left side. You will see the list of Linux machines or machines that you created so far. You will not have any machine right now. It is empty. So click on launch instances button on the top right side over here. Click this button. You can do along with me. Click this button. And in the next page, they will ask you to select the operating system, and we need a Linux operating system. You scroll down, you will find Ubuntu Server 20.4 operating system. Select that operating system by clicking this select button. Ubuntu 20.4. Click on the select button. I think it is the 4th or 5th operating system in the list. So click on select button next to Ubuntu Server 20.4.
So basic, yeah.
Yeah,
Post clicking on install instance, I need to select on Red Hat. Select, correct? Linux.
Ubuntu 20.4. Fifth, I think it is the 5th one.
No.
Ubuntu.
Post clicking on this instance.
Yeah.
Okay,
After
it's Ubuntu 20.4.
done.
Yeah, then
Okay.
T2.
Then yeah. Then hold on. That is where I am. Okay. Now you are in the page. Choose an instance type, right? And by default, T2 Micro will be selected. Do not change that. Keep that selection. And it's very important that you do not change that, because only T2 Micro machine is free. If you select any other machine, it is not free. So make sure that it is T2 Micro. By default, it is T2 Micro. All you need to do is just click this button, review and launch. Click the button, review and launch. And again click on launch button on the right bottom. There's a launch button. Click on the launch button once again. And then it would show you one pop-up. You will see 2 drop down. From the first drop down, select the second option, create a new key pair. From the first drop down, select the second option, create a new key pair and give it some name, let's say Feb 23, or I mean, it's up to you, whatever name you want to give. I'm
Basil,
giving
I
some.
just missed it. Hello.
Who is this?
Yeah, Surya.
Surya.
Basil.
Yeah. Yes, Surya.
Yeah, like in the instance type, should I select T2.micro?
T2 Micro. Click on review and launch.
Okay.
Again, click on launch.
Okay.
Now select the second option, create a new key pair. Give it some name.
No. Create a new key pair. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and give some name. It can be your name. So whatever name it is, after once you click on this button, now you click on download key pair button after you specified
Can
a
it be
name.
name or any text, or it should be in numbers? Keypad name.
No, it can be your name. Does not has to be number. It can be number also. So you can give your name. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you specified some name here, click on the download key pair button. This button. Now you will see that one file got downloaded to your laptop. The file name will be whatever name you had given .pem. So in my case it is feb232021.pem. That is the file that I downloaded on my laptop. And now you click on launch instance, and this file that you downloaded on your laptop you will be using every time you want to log into the machine. So this file is very important. You should keep that file in your laptop permanently. If you want to log into this machine, you need that file, right? So now what you need to do is click on launch instance once again over here, and that's it. Now what you did is you have created a Linux machine. You have successfully created a Linux machine inside your AWS account. So I will repeat, what did you do? First, you created the AWS account. You are done with it. You got your email ID and password, and then now you are able to log into aws.amazon.com as a root user with your email ID and password. That is done. And after we logged into AWS, now we have created a Linux machine. At the time of creating the Linux machine, you have downloaded a key file on your laptop, right? You downloaded a key file on your laptop, and this key file is mandatory if you want to log into the remote Linux machine that you just created. So we just created a remote Linux machine, and you have the key which you can use to log into the Linux machine. Okay, great. Now the step 2 is complete. And what is the last step? What is the next thing that you want to do? From your laptop, you want to log in to the machine. That is the next thing that you need to do. So let us see how to do that. And if you want to log into a machine in AWS from your laptop, and if it is a Linux machine, you should know the IP address of the machine, public IP address of the machine. The reason why you need to know the public IP is you might be sitting in some place, maybe in Bangalore, and this machine could be created in Europe. Right? The machine is in a remote location, and your laptop, from a networking perspective, your laptop can connect to the remote machine using the IP address of the machine. If your laptop know the IP address of the remote machine, it can connect to the remote machine from a networking perspective. So you want to know the IP address of the remote Linux machine. I mean, IP address of this machine I'm talking about. You want to know this IP. AWS provide a public IP. and you can copy that IP from the AWS console. I will show you. And in order to log into a machine, you always need a username and password, right? I mean, that is what we all do when you log into your laptop. First, you turn on your laptop and you provide a username and password. That's what you do all the time. So in order to log into the AWS machine also, you need a username. In AWS, there is a user called Ubuntu. By default, there is a Linux user called Ubuntu inside this machine. So from my laptop, I will connect to this machine using the IP address, try to log in as user Ubuntu, and the key file that I downloaded, I would use as a authentication password. I mean, like a password, this key file will act like a password. So in my laptop, I need the IP address of the remote machine, the key file that I downloaded in my laptop, and also the username Ubuntu. I need to know these three information, and then I can log in to the remote Linux machine. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. From my laptop, I'm going to log in to the remote
I
Linux.
have a question.
Yeah.
Basil, what if we change the laptop?
As long as you have the key file with you, you can log in.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay, great. So okay, 1 second. Yeah, so the next thing what I want to do is I want to log into this Linux machine that I created in the cloud. So first of all, I go back to the same page in the AWS console. I want to see the new machine that I created. Where you will see it, click on services on the top, select EC2 and click instances on the left side. This is the page you always go to whenever you want to see the list of machines, and this is the machine that I just created, this one. Just click on the machine and come down here. You will be able to see the public IP address of the machine, and in my case it is 52.87.21.216.3. In your case it could be a different IP. So you will find a public IPv4 address, not the private. It should be public. Select the public one. This is the IP address that you need. And this machine is sitting somewhere in the world. I mean, I don't care wherever it is. I can connect to that machine using this IP. My laptop, I'm using a MacBook. My MacBook can connect to this Linux machine using this IP. And the people who uses Windows, I mean, it doesn't matter what is the operating system on your laptop, you will be able to log in, right? All right, so let us do that. And first I will show you those who are using a MacBook. Assume your laptop, your laptop could be Windows, right? It may be running a Windows operating system, or it could be a MacBook, or it could be a Linux machine, right? It doesn't matter. Whatever operating system that you run on your laptop, it is not important. What is important is whatever operating system it is capable to log into the remote Linux machine and then finally give you a command line like this, and you can execute Linux server. You can work on the Linux server just by running the commands. There is one command if you want to create a new file. There is a command called touch. If you want to see the list of files, there is a command called ls. If you want to install a software, there is a command called apt. Like that, there are different commands that you can execute in this command line. And remember, all these commands are getting executed on the remote server, right? Even though the command line is in your laptop, it is the remote server that get all these changes. So you can literally work on the Linux server remotely on your laptop. First of all, you have to get this command line. How do you get this command line? You have to log into the remote Linux server from your laptop, right? That's what I'm going to do. So those who are using a MacBook, listen to me. First, I will talk about those who are using a MacBook, how you will log in. After that, I will talk about those who use Windows, how do you log in. So let us start with the MacBook. And those who are using a MacBook, there's an application called Terminal. There's an application called Terminal on your MacBook. Open that. Open that Terminal application on your MacBook and run this command cd space downloads. This will take you to the folder where you downloaded the key file on your MacBook, right? At the time of AWS machine creation, I downloaded a key file. If you are unsure where you downloaded it, go to your Google Chrome browser, go to the downloads page and click on show in folder. Then you can see in which folder you have this file. So by default it will be downloads folder. That is why I just directly went into the downloads folder. And you have to run this command. This is a one-time command you have to execute to secure the key file. So the command is chmod 400, then the name of the file that you downloaded from AWS. So run this command on your MacBook command line, and this is a one-time command that you will run. Next command is, now I am going to log in from my MacBook to the remote Linux machine. The command is ssh -i, then you specify, the command is ssh -i, then you specify the name of the key file, then you specify the username as which you want to log in, @ then you paste the public IP you have got from here. So the machine have a public IP, take that public IP and paste it here. So this is the command you will always run from a MacBook to log into this Linux machine. So I'm running this command. Okay. Then it will ask me, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Give yes, type in yes and press enter, and that's it. That's it. Now I am logged in to the remote Linux machine. Okay. Now I am inside the remote Linux machine. This is my Linux machine. This is not my MacBook anymore. This command line I am talking about. Whatever command I run here, there are different command. I want to create a file. It's a command called test.txt. I mean touch space file name. What this command does is it will create a new file with the name test.txt. And if I want to create a folder, there's a command called mkdir in Linux that can create a folder with the name f1. This is the name of the file. So this is how it works. Got it? So I'm just giving some brief about Linux, right? So whatever command I am executing, remember all these commands are getting executed on the remote Linux server, not in my MacBook. In this command line belongs to the remote Linux machine. So whatever I execute here, it is running on the remote Linux machine. So the command line is not your laptop. Command line is the remote Linux machine. Okay. Even though this command line is visible on your laptop, it is the remote Linux machine's command line is what you see. Okay, great. So this is how you do it if you are using a MacBook. And those who are using a Windows PC, let me talk about that.
Basil, sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
yep, go
So
ahead.
Basil, the thing is like while creating this account in AWS, post clicking on that public IP, okay, then I need to click on this SSH client or what? Like,
Let me, I will come to that. Right.
okay,
So you are using a Windows PC, or
yes, Windows.
yeah, whatever steps that I explained here is only for MacBook, the people who are using
Okay,
MacBook. So I am coming to the Windows part. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, no problem. Yeah. All right. So now now you all have created your AWS machine. You got the public IP, and I told you the username is Ubuntu by default, and you already downloaded the key file onto your laptop. So these are the information that you need, whether you use Windows or Linux. You must have the key file downloaded to your laptop, and then you must have the IP address of the remote Linux machine, and then you need to know the username on the remote Linux machine, which is Ubuntu. In the remote Linux machine, there's a user called Ubuntu. You are going to log in as the user Ubuntu. And yes, you have all that information with you. Username you have, IP address you can get from the AWS console, key file you already downloaded. But there is a problem. Those who are using Windows PC, there is one thing that you need to do. This key that you downloaded from AWS, it is in PEM format, and a format change need to be done. You should convert this file into a different format called PPK, because PuTTY support only PPK. PuTTY is a software you are going to use in Windows in order to log in to the remote Linux machine. So first the key has to be converted into the PPK format before you can use the key file in PuTTY. PuTTY help you to log into the remote Linux machine from Windows laptops. You will be able to log into the remote Linux machine using PuTTY. PuTTY is the software that we use. So you need PuTTY on your Windows PC. So first of all, let us download PuTTY to your Windows PC. Okay. So there is a website called putty.org. Go to this website called putty.org. All of you, those who are using Windows, go to the website putty.org and select this option. You can download PuTTY here. Click here and scroll down a bit, and then you would see two files. There is putty.exe, and then there is puttygen.exe, two files. So download both the files to your laptop, to your Windows PC, to your laptop. Just click on this and it will get downloaded. So download putty.exe and puttygen.exe. And as I told you, Putty is the software that you use every time you want to log in to the remote Linux machine. But we have this problem. You want to convert your PEM file into PPK format first before you can use that in PuTTY. And to do that conversion, to do this PEM to PPK conversion, we will use the software called PuttyGen. PuttyGen is a software that you just downloaded to your laptop, and this software can convert the downloaded PEM file to the PPK format, and then you can use the PPK file in your PuTTY. That is the whole purpose of PuttyGen. It is a one-time action to convert the PEM file into the PPK format, and let me do that. So first of all, those who downloaded both putty and puttygen.exe, and they will be available on your downloads folder. If you are unsure, go to your Google Chrome downloads and then click on show in folder button. Then you can see in which folder the both putty and puttygen got downloaded. And once you opened it, just open puttygen.exe, double click and open puttygen.exe. No need of any installation, it is a direct executable file. Just double click and open it, puttygen.exe. So once everyone opened puttygen.exe, this is how the file will look like. I mean, puttygen will look like. So what you're going to do is you are going to convert PEM to PPK. That is why you need puttygen. So click on this load button over here. There's a load button in your puttygen. Click there. And once you clicked on the load button, it will ask you to select the PEM file from your file browser. You go to the folder where you downloaded the PEM file. Okay, it would be this here, right? Over here in the downloads, I believe you might have downloaded the PEM file. Click there and then select this option, all files. This is very important, otherwise you won't see the file listed here. So make sure that you selected this option, all files. Can you see my drawing? Okay, yeah, and then select the PEM file, whatever file name that you downloaded from AWS, this file. Okay, now click on the open button, and that's it. Now you would get a warning saying that you will get a message saying that successfully imported the foreign key. It will look something like this: successfully imported the foreign key. You just click on this OK button and that message will disappear. And then click on save private key button. Save private key button. It has to be private key that you need to save. So click on save button, then it will ask you where you want to save it. So choose some location on your computer and save it. Give it a name and save it. That is your PPK file. Did you do it?
My laptop says this app cannot run on your PC. Uh, Puttygen.
Listen,
Make sure that you downloaded a 64-bit or 32-bit. If your laptop is 32-bit, then it has to be
I
this.
downloaded both and I tried both, but both are saying the same thing.
Oh, okay. We
Basil,
will
even
talk about it at the end.
uh, it.
Tejaswini, are you?
Hello, Basil.
Go ahead, Soumya. Soumya, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just downloaded that puttygen, and then I need to select that RSA by default key to generate, or like what?
Don't change anything. Just click on save private key button. That will do.
No, no. Uh, Parameter type of
No,
key to
that's what I
generate.
said. Whatever the
Uh,
default is, let it be.
uh-huh. And
Just
then I
click on.
click on load, correct? Directly, we need to click on load.
Correct.
But I am not able to see that file, that PAM file, which
You should
I just
select this all files from that drop down. That's why you don't see it. There's an option all files. Yeah.
all files. Okay.
Now you will be able to see it.
Okay, then I click on open, correct?
Yeah. Select it and open it. Now you might have got a pop-up saying that successfully imported, right?
Yes.
Click on the OK button and it will disappear.
Yeah, and then I just need to click on loader.
Click on Save Private Key button.
Okay,
Save
you want to show
private,
protect it. Yeah. Yes.
not public key, private key. Save private key, not public key.
Yeah, save private key. And then yes.
Give it some name and save it. Yes.
Name means is, are you sure you save this without a fast chase to protect it?
Go ahead. Click yes. Select yes.
And then I need to put, I need to give some name, file name.
Yeah. Give some file name and save it. Yeah. Did you do that
Yeah.
for me?
Yeah,
Okay.
but then the file name extension should be like dot something or just file name I need to put, and
You
that's it.
just put the file name and it automatically down PPK extension get added up.
Okay, and then again I need to click on save private key, correct?
That's all. That's all. Okay. No, you just need to click on the save button. After you named it, you save the file. That's all.
Save, yeah, but still it's not going, that putty key generator.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Did you save it?
Okay.
You saved it, right? So that's all you
Yes.
need. You have the PPK file now. You can close Putigen.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so let us continue now. And yeah, so the next thing. So now you have converted.
1 second. Can you please repeat it once more, please?
Where you
I
are?
just got, yeah, I just got it, and I pressed load an existing private key,
Yeah, select all
and I
file.
have selected my file. Yeah, and then
Then select the open button and you got a pop-up saying that successfully imported, right? Click on OK.
no, I got the type of key to generate, and
And now just click on the save private key button. After you selected the key and after you click the OK button, just click the button, save private key.
yeah, okay. Are you sure you want to save this key without
Yeah,
passphrase?
yes. Give it some
And
name and save it in some location on your computer. That's all. You can give any name. Did you save it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I just saved it, so I can close this putty key generator
You can close
window, right?
footage. You don't need that anymore. You can close it.
Okay,
All right.
thank
So yeah, thank you. So what you did is you converted the PEM file that you downloaded into the PPK format. Okay. And it is this PPK file you will use in Putty to log into the remote Linux machine and get this command line. And that's what you are going to do. Open Putty, double click and open Putty on your computer. Everyone.
Putty.
Yeah. You downloaded
I need to.
Puttygen and Putty. So double
Yeah.
click and open Putty on your computer. Okay. So once you opened Putty, this is how the page will look like. The window will look like. And in the host name field over here, you put the IP address of your AWS machine. Basically, Putty want to know the public IP of the AWS machine. It want the PPK file, and it also want the username Ubuntu. These three information Putty need to know if Putty want to connect to the remote Linux machine and give you the command line. Okay, so Putty want to know this PPK file and the username Ubuntu, and also the IP address of the remote machine, where you can get the IP address of the remote machine from the AWS console. In the AWS console, you can find the public IP. So whatever that public IP is, you paste it here in this field called hostname. All right. And after that, now you click on this plus button next to SSH. Click on the plus button, and then it will expand. You would see something called auth, AUTH, auth. So click on auth, not the plus button. Click on auth text. Okay. So once you clicked on the auth text, over here you click on not the plus button, you would find a button called browse towards the right side. Click the browse button and select the PPK file that you previously saved. Once you did that, now click on the open button. Down you will find the open button. Now click on the open button over there. You will get a warning now, right? Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Click yes. And now you will see a black color window which is asking you for the username to login. Login as, right? With a prompt login as. You have to type in Ubuntu as the username. UBUNTU, Ubuntu as the username. And press enter. And that's it. Now you got a command line. Tejaswini, can you mute? I'll mute you. You continue. Now you got a command line. It is black in color, right? It is black in color. Don't worry about the color or anything. Now you are inside the Linux machine. And that command line is the remote Linux machine. It's not your laptop. That command line is your remote Linux machine. Whatever command that you run in that command line, remember, it get executed in the remote Linux machine in the cloud server. Is it clear, everyone? And those who couldn't complete it today, don't worry. You can do it. Ask for the video from your contact person, and make sure that you do it today, because tomorrow we will start with the Linux basics. Make sure that your Linux machine is ready before the next class. And today I will not get into Linux basics, but rather I will talk a little bit about the computer fundamentals, right? A little bit about the computer fundamentals. So let's start. From next time, you use the only use Putty. You open Putty, you would put the IP address, you will upload the PPK file, and then you would mention the username as Ubuntu. That's what you will do.
So what is
Soumya,
the
you are not
username?
audible, Soumya. I'm not able to hear you. I think your voice is gone. Yeah, go ahead, Tejaswini.
What is the username again? UBUNTU, is that correct?
Yeah, username is UBUNTU. That is correct.
Okay.
Why? What happened?
Nothing. I'm just
Okay.
trying to enter the login as UBUNTU.
Okay. Yeah, correct.
what is the exit command, Basil, to come out of that?
To come out, you can type the command logout or exit.
Okay.
Logout or exit. Yeah, one of these commands would disconnect you. Okay.
Basil, do we need to do this SSH setup every time we log into the PuTTY?
Every time you log in from PuTTY, these are the steps to log in through to the remote Linux machine. So PuTTYgen you don't need, that is a one-time action. But yeah, every time you will open PuTTY and log into the machine in the same way. You need to provide the IP address, the PPK file, and username as Ubuntu. These three things you should give it to PuTTY every time you want to log in. Okay. Yeah, Tejaswini, can you mute?
Sure.
Some noise is coming from the background. Yeah. So what I will do is I'll not get into the Linux basics today, but rather I'm going to talk a little bit about the computer fundamentals, right, which is common for both Linux and Windows. Whether you are using Linux or Windows, when it comes to the hardware part or the way how they work, it is same. So let's talk about a little bit about fundamentals of a Linux server or Windows, whatever.
I'm audible, Basil?
Yes, Soumya, now you are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so hope you already know these things, right? For every computer, there's a CPU, and there's a primary memory unit, and then there is hard disk, or you can call it secondary memory, right? Secondary memory. So these are, the main three fundamental units of a computer, right? It is the case of your laptop. It is the case of a MacBook. It is the case of the remote Linux machine that you just created in the AWS cloud, any virtual machine or any machine in the world. These are three fundamental parts. They will definitely have a CPU or maybe multiple CPU. Nowadays, the latest laptops have multiple CPUs to do the parallel processing. Then there will be primary memory, which we also call RAM, right? You also call it RAM sometime. And then there is secondary memory, which is generally called a hard disk. So every computer will have these parts: CPU, primary memory, and secondary memory. And what a CPU will do generally, what is the purpose of a CPU, if anyone can? What CPU does is CPU will do the processing. CPU is what that execute all the programs on your computer. You double click on Google Chrome button, or you browse for a website, or you double click on Microsoft Word, you try to open the Edge browser. So then a lots of program get executed on your computer, and it is the CPU who executes them. That is the purpose of CPU, executing the programs. Whatever execution that takes place on your laptop, it is done by the CPU. So you double click on Google Chrome icon. What your Windows PC actually does is it will ask the CPU to execute this program, and CPU will execute the Google Chrome program, and as a result, the browser opens up and you will be able to see the Google Chrome browser. You double click on Microsoft Word, or you type in something, you click on save button in the Microsoft Word. Every time what happens is a request would be sent to the CPU. a process, Microsoft Word is a process, Google Chrome is another process, and different process running on your computer will have to wait for the CPU to get executed. CPU execute this process one by one and finish it off and go to the next one. So that's what CPU do. It keep running executions. It keep executing different things on your computer, and all executions are done by the CPU. There could be a lots of process that need execution from the CPU. Your Chrome browser, your Firefox browser, you open a new tab, then there is new execution. Then you save something on the Microsoft Word, there is a new execution. You create a new file on your computer, there is a execution. So you open the calculator and add two numbers, there's an execution. So a lots of process, they keep waiting for CPU to execute something. Your calculator application, your Google Chrome application, Firefox application, whatever process are out there, they want to get executed something from the CPU. And sometimes your machine goes slow. It could be because CPU is not able to process everything in time, right? Because always there are a lot of execution that need to take place, and lots of process need some time from the CPU, right? CPU spend some time to execute these programs, right? Assume your laptop have 4 CPU. The modern laptops or modern computers have multiple CPUs. It means 4 process can be executed at the same time on your computer. So so assume the CPU keep executing your calculator application and doing different executions. So for some time, you're adding number 1 plus 1. It will take only microseconds to add two numbers. By CPU don't take much time if the operation is small. But you are multiplying a 100-digit or maybe some 20-digit number with a 15-digit number, you want to multiply them. CPU would take a lot of time. I mean, CPU need to take more time, maybe 1 second to execute such kind of multiplication. So it completely depends on the process or how heavy the program is, how much time CPU will take. It depends on the program. Some program will execute very fast in microseconds. Some program might take seconds to execute. And there will be a lots of process that keep waiting for the CPU to get executed. And sometimes this process will have to wait because all 4 CPU are busy executing the existing process. So that can also happen, right? CPU is not able to execute things in time because there are too many processes that are waiting for execution. So there may be situations the process need to wait for one of the CPU to become free, and once the CPU finished executing the existing process, it will take the new process and execute it. So this is where you will find some slowness on your computer. You are running a lot of application on your computer. You double click open Google Chrome, you open Firefox, and in Google Chrome, Firefox, whatever software they run as a process on your computer, and they want to do lots of execution from the CPU. So CPU will become overloaded. CPU need time, but there is no time. There are many processes waiting. So this can lead into slowness on your computer, and you might have experienced this, right, a lot. So this is the way how CPU work. It keep executing. That is the only purpose of your CPU. It keep executing different programs running on your computer on by different process, right? That's what CPU will do. And different programs running on your computer, they may have some data that they want to store temporarily. If I tell you one example, you double click and open Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is an application, and you are typing in something inside the file, and you have not clicked the save button yet. You are still typing in. You haven't saved where the files get saved. Where do you store your movies, songs, right? Whatever files, word files, where they are stored permanently inside the hard disk. But when you are not saving something into the hard disk, when you don't click on the save button in the Microsoft, assume this is the Microsoft Word application, you are editing a file, you are typing something, and you haven't clicked on the save button, then what that means is all that data, whatever you are typing in, are currently in the primary memory. When you click on the save button in your Microsoft, what happens is the data will get flushed into the hard disk. Memory will send that data into the hard disk, and then the file got permanently saved in the hard disk. Until then, it is kept in the primary memory. Okay, so the primary memory is used for this purpose only. Whenever any process want to store something temporarily, it will store that inside the primary memory. So think about, this is the Google Chrome browser process. You browse for a website called facebook.com using your Google Chrome browser. What your Google Chrome browser does is it will download Facebook website from the internet, and now it will display the website to you. And what Google Chrome also does is the downloaded content, it will store temporarily inside the RAM, so that next time when you browse Facebook, it will not download everything from the internet. It will take some data from the RAM. So your Chrome will work faster because a number of posts on Facebook are stored inside the RAM, and Google Chrome browser fetch it from the RAM. Only the remaining data it will fetch from the Facebook website. So that's why your website will look fast, and for such kind of purpose, different process on your computer uses RAM to store some temporary data and read those data temporarily. That is the purpose of RAM. Generally, you will not write anything inside the RAM directly. All your files, songs, movies, you keep them in the C drive, D drive, or F drive, right? Those are all hard disk partitions. So in the RAM, generally you don't store anything directly. The RAM is used and managed by different process running on your computer. When they want to store something temporarily or read something, it uses primary memory or RAM. And this is a volatile memory. You close this process, Google Chrome, then whatever data stored in the primary memory by Google Chrome will also be lost. Or in the worst case, when you shut down your computer, the RAM will be wiped out. There won't be anything inside the RAM anymore. So whatever you store inside the RAM, it is not a permanent data. RAM is used only for this temporary storage purpose. Like I said, for Microsoft Word to store the data temporarily until it is stored in hard disk. For Google Chrome to store some cache, before it, while it is browsing, right? So this is the purpose of RAM. This is the whole purpose of RAM, and it is very fast. That is why the process will love to use RAM. RAM is a very fast memory compared to hard disk. If any process want to store something in the RAM and retrieve something from the RAM, it takes very less time. And this is a costly memory also. It costs more than hard disk, a lot more than hard disk. And so the reason is it is very fast, and the process always love to use primary memory for storing the cached data. Then the process will be fast. If the process have to save something in the hard disk and get it from the hard disk, it takes a lot of time. The process can go slow. That is the purpose of RAM. And hard disk, you already know. This is where you will be storing your data, and we will be talking more about the file system on the hard disk tomorrow, how it will work on Linux. In Windows, you already know. I mean, you have My Computer, you double click, you can see C drive, D drive, E drive, etc. You double click on one of the drive. You want to create a new file, right click, select the option new file, right? It's pretty easy. In Linux, it's little bit, those who are new to Linux, it will take a little amount of time to get used to it. But don't worry, we will spend our time on that. And I will be going slow tomorrow also, those who are new to Linux, to make you comfortable. We will run a lot of commands this week. I would be giving you some 50 Linux commands as an assignment until you become comfortable. So that is the overall plan. And yeah, so it's all about, I don't want you to by heart a lot of Linux commands. That is not my intention, but I want you to spend enough time, make yourself comfortable with Linux, right? You don't need to by heart anything. You can get everything from Google. You can search in Google, find out what is the right command, but you should become ready to search in Google and find the right commands within a minute, or maybe it should not take more than 10 or 30 seconds to find the right command from Google. That is where you should improve. You need to be faster. Initially, it will take a little amount of time to get used to it, but eventually, as you run more commands, you would become comfortable. That is the whole purpose of learning the Linux basics. Tomorrow and day after, we will cover some basic commands and stuff. And day after tomorrow, I think second half, we will start with the advanced prerequisites training. There are certain things that you want to know before we start our advanced training. So we will focus on that, and that is the plan. All right. Yeah.
So
So
Basil,
yes, Soumya.
yeah, as you said, like we just created the Linux machine in AWS cloud, correct?
Yes,
So there
Soumya.
is no related with any personal computer. So what I want to know is, let's suppose tomorrow once we will start and we need to go to that command line, whatever we created today, installing
Mm-hmm.
that ppm file and all, correct? So we will directly, like now we have one putty shortcut here, correct? I
Mm-hmm.
can see.
Yes.
So from there only I just put my like IP address and I can start, or like the same process I need to go
Exactly.
to this AWS and
Exactly.
like
No, the same process. You can just open putty, then you
mhm.
can connect. You need the
And
public IP, you need the
okay,
username Ubuntu, and you need the PPK file. That's all you need. So no need to go to AWS. You can use putty uh, all the time.
so I just want to share my screen once with you. Is it possible? Can I share? Just want to see, like I'm also on the same page or not.
What is regarding? Oh, to show this, right? Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
of course. First of all, let me take question from everyone. So
yeah.
then we will. So anyone, any question? So Srikanth, you got
Can
some
we
question?
drop off, Basil?
Yeah, we are done for today. And if you need the video, talk to your contact person and get it. And those who did not get the confirmation from the contact person, please get it today. Right? You
You
need
are
to.
asking something, Basil?
No, basically I was asking, confirm your enrollment by talking to your contact person. Uh,
Sure.
to yeah, okay,
Yeah.
and yeah, thanks, Srikanth. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
And yeah, anyone, any questions?
Vasil, for this Linux machine, do you need to shut down it because we are not using for a day to day?
It's okay. Let it be. Let it run. It won't cost you. So let it
Okay.
run.
And I am using Git Bash for connecting. I hope this is fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's absolutely. Okay, cool. So thanks everyone. Any more question?
So basically, yeah, as I said, just want to show for a minute, if you allow.
Yeah. So if you don't have any question, let us you can disconnect and
Thank
see you
you, Vasu.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Soumya, I will make you a presenter. You can share your screen.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen?
Not yet. Yeah, now I can. Yes.
So this is what I did, correct?
Yes.
So till we all are here, correct? I am
You
also on
can
the same
close.
page.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so I just need, let's suppose tomorrow so I just click on this Ubuntu. I need to put that public IP and then log in as a Ubuntu.
Exactly. Same thing.
Okay,
Upload the
same thing.
PPK file also. That's
Okay,
the same.
okay. So here I can close, na? Close this.
Yes, you can close it and you can again open putty and log in.